Okay, hello there. It's Loren from Tanglewood. It's a beautiful Friday morning. I was started this a few minutes ago and had a technical issue, so I'm back. I hope you're well. Hello there. Cool, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a beautiful week and are preparing for a beautiful weekend. Life has been beautiful here, as usual. It's exciting. Today is the last day of the 6th week of this 10-week session. Great. Glad you're doing well. You like the Ramadan video? Yeah, Ramadans are amazing. Do you know them? I love them. Message is held for review. That's interesting. More such fruits, vids, please. Okay, I wonder why that happened. That's weird. Hello, William. How are you? So for some reason, Bakul, your last comment was held by the system, like it somehow might have been I don't know. It's kind of strange. Anyway, there it is. I had to okay it for it to show up. Hello there. Nice to see you, Sonny. I'm glad you're well. Daniel, good to see you. 4 days into a fast, I'm feeling my healthiest. A heartbeat in my stomach. Any thoughts? Yeah, you've got a major artery that runs through your abdomen, and so when you're fasting, you tend to feel that. It's nothing to worry about. John, hey John, good to see you. How much coconut water can one drink at one time? Is it better to eat a banana alone or to piggyback it with a high water content fruit like mango? It's always best to eat every fruit alone, John. Every single fruit. Mono is king. Mono is best. If you look at nature, this is what happens. Animals eat one thing at a time. The exception is, for instance, with the chimpanzees and bonobos, with whom we share our digestive physiology, they may eat fruit with leaves. But when scientists examine the stool of the bonobos and chimpanzees, what they find is one or two things in there at one time. It could be more than one meal that they're eliminating at one time. Could be 2 meals at a time. Or it could be there's going to be fruit with leaves. But there'll almost never be 2 types of fruit at a time. Okay, it's always going to be best to do one type of fruit at a time. So just bananas or just mangoes, but not combined. If you occasionally want to combine them, we do that when for instance, we'll do a mango ice cream, which is frozen bananas and frozen mangoes through a machine together. But that's a compromise, and it's not optimal, and it's something I'll probably do, at the most half a dozen times a year, normally. Something we might do every 2 or 3 months with the staff and volunteers here. It's not something we feed to our guests because it's not something someone we're feeding should be consuming. So always best to one fruit at a time. Coconut water, you can drink what works for you. It's okay to drink up to a quart at a time. Don't go too fast, but otherwise it's fine. Hey, Christian, good to see you too. You're very welcome. I'm glad to do these things. It's kind of fun. It turns out, who knew, after I think 4 years or so of doing these on Facebook, we seem to get a lot more people here. In fact, sometimes it's overwhelming because I keep thinking, okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to talk about something today. And what's happened is I wind up just answering questions the whole time because there's so many of them here. And I rarely have time to really go back and take a look. I hope I will. I think I will. I say I might. I don't think I've ever promised it, but I say I'm going to try to get back. And it's just life has been so busy. It's very difficult to do that. Hope you understand. Is that Serena? I've never seen your name spelled that way. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here, Serena. Victoria says, can you detox on a fruit fast eating avocados or bananas? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. First of all, not really fasting if you're eating fruit. I know what you mean, of course. But, fasting means no calories, no nutrients. And so you're going to detox the most the lighter your diet is. And this is the reason why people see benefits with juices. Juices are unnatural substances. They're largely oxidized. They're over-concentrated. They're far from optimal in many, many ways. And yet processing juices takes less energy than processing solid food in most cases. And so people will detox more. It's not what I'd recommend doing. My recommendation is fast on water. That's the only fast there is. Or eat only high water content fruits if you want to detoxify. Because if you're eating bananas and avocados, it's taking much more energy and using much more water to process these things through the body. And so you're going to get far less benefit that way. Your body, theoretically, in a healthy, clean system, the body is always detoxifying. In every single moment of your life, it's doing everything it can to clean out any garbage that doesn't belong. But how much of that can it do when, the average body is overwhelmed with all the stuff coming in all the time? So the average person eating an average diet isn't really detoxing very much. And someone eating only high water content, and again, I'm not recommending an island, which people call it, where you eat, you drink only orange juice or you eat only watermelon for a month. There's no reason to believe that eating only one thing is better in some way than eating a variety of different things. It doesn't make life easier for your body. It just sets you up to create imbalances, since no food is completely nutritionally complete. Okay. Now, fasting is different, because when we fast completely, we're creating a different physiological state. And so we don't see deficiency diseases even when people go months without food. Okay. But if you're eating food, you don't want to eat only one thing. I have seen on various occasions people who try to eat only watermelon for 3 months create problems for themselves. Someone who drank orange juice only for a couple months wind up in the hospital. Okay, it's not balanced. It makes no sense to do that. Eat watermelon one meal and papaya the next meal, and stick to stuff that's really high in water content. And do that for 3 or 4 weeks, and you're going to see some detoxification, which is far beyond what would happen if you're eating more complex meals or eating things that are drier or higher in fat. Okay, lower in water and higher in fat. So I wouldn't recommend bananas and avocados if the objective is to detoxify. It's possible, but it's going to be far from optimal. That's for sure. Hello, Melanie. Nice to hear from you. At night in my country. So where are you, Melanie? Where is it night in your country? Jan has a question. While on the optimal diet, I did experience some loss of muscle strength and fitness, especially when playing tennis. What's your take on this? Well, it's really very simple. I mean, there's only really 2 possibilities, two real likely possibilities. One not very likely possibility is that you had a nutrient issue, that you were missing some nutrients, and that would depend on what exactly you were eating. But generally speaking, if people are eating a mixture of different fruits and eating some salads, you should be getting all the protein you need. You should be getting all of the vitamins and minerals you need. It's unlikely there's going to be a real issue with nutrients. So far more likely is one of 2 things. It's possible that you weren't getting enough calories to create the energy that you needed. And that's a possibility, because fruits and salads are calorically, they're not very dense foods. You have to eat more volume than you're used to if you haven't been eating this way before. So what will happen for most people when they change is they'll lose weight, and that's not a bad thing. For most people, the body is wanting to clean out garbage, but energy might be lower temporarily. And the other reason that happens is in concert with that. If that's what's going on, what's happening is your body is attempting to detoxify. It is detoxifying, in fact. As it detoxifies, poisons are being dumped into your bloodstream. So if you go from a standard diet to an optimal diet, your body is going to be detoxifying. And when you detoxify, you don't feel very well. Okay, you're going to feel weak and tired because there's poison in your bloodstream. It's just that in most cases. That's from the least to the most likely. That's what's happening for most people. Okay, all kinds of people say, "Oh, I tried that, didn't work. That diet didn't work." What was happening was they were detoxifying. People go back to eating crap and they feel better. Animal products is crap for our bodies. We don't have the digestive physiology. Okay, we're completely different, our anatomy and physiology, from animals that eat animals. So while meat is perfectly fine for my cat, it's not okay for you and I. Okay, what's okay for you and I is the same as what's okay for the chimpanzees, the bonobos, which is almost exclusively fruit and soft, tender leaves. That's what we should be eating. When we eat that way and the body is clean and doesn't need to do a lot of detoxification, we feel amazing. We feel strong, we feel fit, we feel energetic. I have no shortage of energy, even when I'm not getting enough sleep. No problem with energy whatsoever. When people do have an issue, it's because they're detoxifying. And a lot of people say, no, I believe that. That's not true. It is true. It is true. And I know it's true because I take those people and we put them through a fast of 21, 26, 30 days done correctly, the way we do it here. What happens is when they're done, they feel amazing. And I mean, virtually every time, okay, people feel amazing. So that's almost certainly what's going on for you. Okay, it's likely just that. Bakul says, any thoughts on Davina water or easy water, if you're aware? I know what easy water is. I don't know about Davina water. Not really. I mean, I don't really think we have to worry too much about this. I think what we need to do is simply give our bodies a chance to cleanse and heal, right? I mean, we make it way too complex. All we have to do is give the body the chance to cleanse and heal, sip enough water, eat properly, get enough sunlight, get enough exercise, get enough rest and sleep, and find a way to deal with our emotions. And if we can do those simple things, what happens is incredible. I don't have to think at all about, am I getting this, do I have heavy water? What, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, not an issue. Let's see. Judy says, good morning. Great to see you. Good to see you too, Judy. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're well. William says, I'm great, thank you. And yourself? I'm doing great, thank you. I've heard we can get vitamin B12 from any fruit. Where do we get vitamin B12? Well, vitamin B12, all vitamin B12 is manufactured by bacteria. So to the extent that there's bacteria on the surface of your fruit or perhaps inside, you should be able to get some vitamin B12 from your fruit. But generally speaking, we're getting vitamin B12 if we're not taking it. In a healthy vegan body, which we all have vegan bodies, whether we eat a vegan diet or not. In a vegan body where we're not eating animal products, and animal products have tons of B12 because, like our own bodies, they've got tons of bacteria. So if animals contain tons of B12 because they've got tons of bacteria, don't we have tons of B12 in the body already? We do. Okay, every single day there are many times the B12 we need being manufactured by the bacteria, not all of them, but specific bacteria inside of our bodies. The problem for most people is because of the imbalance in the body and because of dehydration, the average person cannot easily break down and assimilate, separate the B12 from the protein and absorb that B12. And that's why people have problems. And I mean, this is a problem for everyone, right? People eating animal products have the same rate, roughly the same rate of clinical B12 deficiency problems. I don't mean blood tests. I mean actual problems where there's something that's happening that shouldn't be happening or something that's not happening that should be happening because of a lack of B12. Okay, they're just as common in people who eat animal products all day, every day. How's that possible if they're eating 1,000 times more B12 than I am? How can they have a problem? Their body is the biggest issue is almost always the body's ability to be able to get what it needs from that diet. Okay, I have no problem getting the B12 I need eating a small amount of fruit and leafy greens because it's being produced inside my body, and because my body works well enough, I can get that B12. I have access to it. Now, for years, scientists said, no, that's not accessible. It's going to be destroyed in the intestines. And a few years ago, they begrudgingly admitted, well, it looks like some people can get what they need that way. Yeah, anyone can if their body's clean and works well. Okay, it's not going to work for people whose bodies aren't clean and well working. But if your body is clean and works well, you can get everything you need, all the B12 you need, without supplementing. You don't ever have to worry about this. Now, if you are worried about it, or if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling tired, or there's any issues, then get it checked out. Okay, and if you have a serious deficiency, it might make sense to supplement temporarily so you don't cause brain damage. If it's not already too late. Okay, for me, it's already too late, so it doesn't matter. But if, B12 deficiency can be a serious problem. So you might want to, if you're worried or you have a reason to believe there's an issue, get it checked out, okay? But most of the time, it's not likely to be a problem. And if you fast long enough with me, I'll guarantee you that afterwards, you're going to be absorbing the B12 from within your body. Okay, you don't have to worry about getting it exogenously, that is from outside of the body. You won't have to worry about that, okay, because it's there. It's already being manufactured inside the body. Most people just aren't able to get to it and aren't able to use it. All right, let's see. Where was I? Oops. This what I find here is with my mouse, it's very sensitive. So when I scroll a tiny bit, it moves a lot. And then I've got to go back and find myself. Find where I was. Okay, I guess I was much further than I thought I was. Let me see here. Give me just a second. Bear with me. I hope you're all doing well and having a great week. Ready for a great weekend. It's beautiful here, as is usual. Okay, here we go. Aditya says, a 66-year-old lady with liver cirrhosis just contacted me. She's in a hospital right now, and the doctors have told her the only thing that will save her life is a transplant. I've told her I guess I told her about me. Okay, well, unfortunately, it may very well be at this point that a transplant is her only option. And, I guess the question is, how long does she have before a transplant? First of all, usually they have to find the organ, right? They don't necessarily have a compatible liver, sitting on a shelf somewhere in inventory. So it has to be fresh, and that means they have to wait for the right donor to have an excess, not need their liver anymore. And so it could be that it takes a while for that to occur. If it were me, I would be fasting right now. And, no question, it's not going to hurt her. It may not save her life, but it's the best way to allow the body to heal if the body is still able to heal. We have seen people with cirrhosis heal. The liver can regenerate. The question is, how far advanced is it? And that's the issue. So, if it were me, I would be fasting. You can tell her, if you talk to her, that if she contacts me today, I could start her tomorrow via Skype, right? Which is probably going to be the best way given her condition, probably not traveling here. But that's what I would do as soon as possible, okay? Sonny says, Professor Arnold Ehret writes that humans can survive on apples and bananas alone. Is this a good idea? Monos are great, but why not use the whole variety of fruits? It's not a good idea. And, Ehret's dead. So what does he know? Right? No, obviously, I know how Ehret died. But no, he was a great guy and ahead of his time in many ways. But he was also wrong about quite a few things. And there's no question that it would make no sense to try to survive on apples and bananas, even if it appears that together they contain everything we need. I'm not so sure that they do. I kind of doubt that that's the case. But even if it appeared that they did, I think we're always going to do better having a blend, a mixture of different things. It doesn't have to be, 100 different things. It might be 8. Okay, but there has to be a variety to ensure we're getting all the nutrients we need in sufficient quantity, proper combinations, etc. So I personally would not advise anyone to try living on apples and bananas, both of which, by the way, are low in water content. And this is something that Ehret never spoke about, never wrote about, that I've seen. I haven't read all his books. I've read his 2 biggest ones, which was Rational Fasting and Nucleosys Diet Healing System. Rational Fasting was my introduction to fasting in fact, 30 plus years ago, 32 or 34 years ago. But, I don't consider an authority on either subject, and I certainly wouldn't live by his advice. It would make no sense to try to survive on fruits that are low in water content. We've got much better choices available. So, I would take that with a grain of salt. Let's see. Simon says, hello there, Simon, about orga, digestive enzymes. Both Lou Carone and Dan McDonald both talk about how the soil is not the same quality as it used to be. How can we know if the soil is optimal? Well, the soil is not optimal in most places. What you can do is, and I know, Dan McDonald. I'm not going to talk about Dan McDonald. But Simon, you're in the UK, and so you can create high quality soil using permaculture techniques, which you can read about online or get a book or go take a course somewhere in the UK. Forest gardening is what it's typically called in the UK, and grow your own high quality food. Okay, there's no reason to worry about this. We do not need, first of all, ironically, enzymes aren't something we're getting from our food anyway. Okay, we don't get digestive enzymes from our food. That's nonsense. If anything, the poor quality soil would mean we were getting less minerals and vitamins, but we need tiny amounts of minerals and vitamins, and there's no reason to have deficiencies if your body's clean and well working. So I can't speak to what these people actually know and how much of this is just a sales pitch, but it's nonsense. You don't need digestive enzymes, period. And there's no reason, and you don't want to take them, by the way, because your pancreas, one of its jobs is to make the enzymes you need. Okay, if I break my leg, I'm going to grab a pair of crutches so I can still get around, assuming that I need to be able to go do things, right? If I can just stay here, in bed, fine. But if I have to be able to get around, I'm going to use a pair of crutches to do it. But if I never put those crutches down, the muscles in my leg are going to atrophy, and I'm going to lose them eventually. What we need to do is to give the body the opportunity to do what it needs to do. If you're taking digestive enzymes, your pancreas says, oh, I guess I don't need to make these anymore. Okay? That you do not want to create that situation. This is a bad idea. Now, I don't know about McDonald, but I know that Lou Carone sells these things. So if someone sells something and they're trying to convince you that you need it, you have a responsibility to yourself to at least be skeptical. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's not true. I sell fasting. And so you might say, well, how do I know you're not just trying to convince me to fast so you make money? Well, the way you know that is you listen to your intuition. In your case, you've been here, you know that people leave here with amazing benefits. You did, and many other people do. And we don't even charge a fraction of what other people charge. I don't remember who the guy was now, but I had a client write to me yesterday morning and say, okay, I'm going to come to you after all. He said, I checked around. The other guy I talked to wanted $19,000 for what we charge $4,000 for. Okay, he wanted almost 5 times more money. People sometimes say, oh, you charge so much. Like, I don't know how. A lot of people don't have an experience running a business, but understand that I got 15 full-time staff members. We pay high taxes and insurance, Social Security, utilities, furniture and fixtures. I've got a couch that used to sit here being repaired because they broke the one in the common area. One of many in the common area. Keeping this stuff in shape, keeping the place beautiful, the maintenance, etc. It's expensive. So, but the point, coming back to the point is the fact that at least one of these guys sells this stuff and is telling you need it. You very well might ask yourself, okay, is this a sales pitch? Is he just trying to get my money, or is this true? And in this case, you definitely don't need digestive enzymes and don't want to take them. Okay, you don't need them. Now, nutrients, yeah, even when soils are depleted, if you're buying commercial food grown on depleted soils, you've got a problem. But if you're buying organic food, the food must be grown on higher quality soils. Organic farmers must do some work to maintain high quality soils because they don't have the use of these poisons to protect the food. And so the food has to be healthy and vibrant enough so the insects go somewhere else, because they're going to attack the weakest plants. Okay, that's why commercial producers need these poisons. Need these poisons because the stuff is so poor quality. It's going to be attacked without the pesticides. Okay, no, you don't need digestive enzymes. Period. And end of story. Martin says, hi from Austin, Texas. Beautiful place. I just got back from Southeast Asia and learned that all fresh and frozen durians imported to the U.S. have been treated with chemicals. Would you still eat them? Well, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Have any? Things. Many tropical fruits coming into the U.S. are treated on the outside to be sure that they're not bringing any pests in with them. But durians is a woody fruit with a very thick skin. I don't think that's going to have any impact on what's happening on the inside. Then when they're frozen solid, I don't know how. First of all, most pathogens and insects aren't going to survive that, and I'm not sure how they'd be treating it anyway. So I do eat durians when I travel. Of course, we have durian trees here, but they're not producing yet, and it's hard to find fresh durians in Costa Rica. They're tropical fruits, but they're not native to Costa Rica, and so there are not many being grown yet. And where I am, as far as I know, there's no one else growing them, and so they're a little hard to find. But when I travel, I do buy durians, generally frozen. And I probably won't stop doing that. I mean, if I knew for a fact that this was the case, I'd probably do some research and check it out and see just how serious an issue this is. But I don't know that it's actually true. And at this point, I probably wouldn't let it stop me until verifying that this is the case, because I love durian. Aditya says, I've told her you can guide her over Skype. Yeah, perfect. That's great. Okay, Christian says, if you don't have the time to commit to a long-term fast due to other life responsibilities, what's the next best way to cleanse the body, perhaps remove plaque while still being functional world? Well, I actually already mentioned this morning, and that next best way, in my opinion, is to eat mono high water content fruit meals for some period of time. Not one type of fruit per meal, but not one type of fruit for the whole time. So one meal of watermelon, one meal of papaya, one meal of oranges, one meal of some other type of melon, one meal of grapefruit, like that, right? Eating no more than you need to. Perhaps giving yourself a good long 18 to 20 hour window each day. Let's say it the other way around, a 4 to 6 hour feeding window, which is what I do and recommend doing for people when they can. And then using all the rest of the time to be resting as much as possible. Still living your life. I mean, you don't have to do nothing. Rest enough time, rest as much as you can, because resting allows your body to cleanse more. And then do what you need to do, but do it without eating the rest of the time, so that your body doesn't have all the energy engaged in processing food. That's going to be the best way. Okay, I hope that helps. Joan Bailey says, are zero water and Brita filters worth it? Well, again, I don't know that much about zero. Brita filters, unfortunately, they don't remove some of the most flagrant issues with water, and they're much more expensive over time because although they're not expensive to buy, you have to keep replacing the filters. So you'd actually be better off getting like a countertop reverse osmosis unit, which might cost $100 or so, maybe more if you want something that's more complex. But you don't want, if money's not an issue, don't go buying a $10,000 reverse osmosis unit, because it's going to filter all the minerals out, and you want to leave some of those inorganic minerals in. We actually need them to be there. The best you can do is clean spring water. If you can find clean spring water close to where you live, get a bunch of glass bottles, go get it done yourself. Just yesterday, when this came up here, a woman from Atlanta told a man from Atlanta, you can buy spring water in glass bottles in Atlanta. There's a company that delivers it. Okay, it's high quality stuff. She's had it checked out. There is clean spring water still available in many places on the planet. That's the first thing that I would do, is I would go take a look and see what I could find. Would you eat fresh, organic sugar snap pea? Yes, if they were picked right away. So you want to eat them right after picking, okay? The longer they are off the vine, the more the sugar and water convert to starch, and the harder it is to digest. Okay, so if you can pick it and eat it, good thing. That's always going to be a good thing. If you can't pick it and eat it right away, it's probably better to avoid. Okay, the same is true, by the way, with green beans, with corn. If you can pick and eat them right away, they're okay to eat, but otherwise not so much. Okay. Martin says, how do you stay healthy when traveling abroad where organic fruit and veggies are scarce? Do you drink bottled water? I drink bottled water when I need water. Fortunately, I don't need as much water as most people do. That's one of the benefits of getting your body clean and hydrated. By eating properly, you don't have to drink very much water. So it's not, I drink bottled water. It's not optimal, but it's much less important because I'm only drinking, a liter or two per week instead of, 3 or 4 liters a day that most people actually need to be drinking. I drink far less than the average person does. I mean, probably between 5 and 10% as much. And so even if it's not the best quality, it just doesn't affect me so much. The key is to do the best you can with the food possible. And I do buy organic produce when I can, when I travel. It's becoming easier and easier to get in many places, certainly easy in Europe and the US, harder perhaps in Central America, but in South America in many places. But it's also useful to know which fruits primarily for me, are safest to eat if they're not organic. And fortunately, if you're traveling in tropical countries like in Central America, most of the tropical fruits have thick skins, and that means it's harder for insects to get to them. And that means they don't need as many pesticides. And so bananas, avocados, pineapples, watermelons, even papayas are relatively low spray fruits. So if you can't get organic, it's still a very good option. It's still better than eating almost anything else you could eat. I mean, anything else you could eat. So, organic is always best. I buy the highest quality food I can. When I'm traveling, I won't necessarily, I'm not going to stop eating and I'm not going to not travel. I'm just not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to do the best I can, and then I'm going to relax and I'm going to enjoy life. Okay. I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm not going to freak out if I can't get 100% organic. And my body's going to be able to handle it. The key is to make the best choices you can, as much as possible, and then don't worry too much. Just relax, enjoy life a bit. Okay, that's what I do. I want to be able to take 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'm going to have to get going. I apologize. I got on here late. I had a little technical issue earlier. So, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to say your name. Sonyam. Congrats for the information that you provide. I've seen many of your videos. They're great. How much do you eat in a day? Thanks. Well, it varies, sometimes, but in a typical day, I might have a watermelon the size, which is probably 2 to 2.5 kilos of edible flesh. I'll eat that. That, by the way, is not a lot of calories. 1 kilo of watermelon contains 300 calories. So it might be a 600 calorie meal. And then I might have a large, simple salad for dinner. Or by the way, my first meal is usually 2 in the afternoon or so. My second meal is usually by 6. I usually eat within a 4 or 5 hour window. There are exceptions to that sometimes. On a recent lecture tour, there were several times, because of circumstances, because of social obligations, because of events, whatever it might have been, I found myself eating dinner, as late as 8 or 9 o'clock. It's not something I want to do very often, but if it happens every once in a while, I'm not going to be too worried about that. And there may be times where I'll eat something earlier in the day, but generally speaking, my first meal is no earlier than 1 in the afternoon. My last meal is no later than 7, and it's usually a 4 to 5 hour window. So that second meal might be 3 or 4 big mangoes. It might be 2 papayas. It's typically going to be between around 1,200 calories per day for me, maybe a little less on some days, and some days it's going to be more than that. But the average is probably 12, let's say 12 to 1,400 calories, somewhere in that range. Not too much more than that. And it has little to do with how much exercise and activity that I do. It doesn't really matter. I can be very busy. It doesn't really seem to make much difference. Okay. Martin says, I've been having persistent low B12 in the low 200s, and iron mildly anemic, despite several water-only fasts on my own and by you, and a fruit-based diet. Okay, well, is this normal by the raw vegan standard versus the U.S. normative standard, also known as normal lab ranges? Well, first of all, B12 blood tests aren't really very useful. So you'd be better off with an MMA test to see where that is, because that's going to work inversely to B12. So if that's very high, then your B12 is actually low. But getting a B12 test, blood test, it's not really a very useful way to measure how you're doing with B12, because the B12 shouldn't be in your bloodstream. It should be in your cells. Okay. If you're anemic, then it sounds like there's still an issue. And I don't know. You said you've done some fasts on your own. Those are rarely done as well as they should be. So I'm not sure how much benefit you got from those. You also mentioned you fasted with me. I fasted various people named Martin over the years. So I'm not sure which one you are. I think there was a practitioner from Texas who was here a few years ago. If that's you, then was that you who said you're from Austin earlier? I'm not going to. Yes, from Austin. I'm guessing that's you, Martin. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. You should not be anemic. Now, it is true, of course, that standards are different, that normative ranges, the norms for the average population with lots of things, it's based on people overeating and eating all kinds of stuff that we shouldn't be eating. And so you might look like you're deficient when you're actually not. There are many ways that this shows up. I often have people telling me, my doctor said I don't have enough leukocytes. Here's an example. Leukocytes are white blood cells, or one of the other white blood cells. Well, if your body's clean and not constantly being bombarded, having to deal with the toxic stuff that people are eating, you will have fewer leukocytes in your body. That's a clean, well-functioning system. I probably have low leukocytes too. I don't know, because I don't get blood tests. I mean, the only time I've ever had my blood tested in the last 20 years is when I've gone to the emergency room to be sewn back together. Every time I've done that, as far as I know, my numbers have been fine. They've never said, oh, you have a real problem here. They've always been fine. But they very well could be low in some regard or high in some regard, because the norms are based on average people making average choices. Martin, if you'd like to, one possibility would be to schedule a consultation with me, and we can look at the details of what's going on for you and try to come up with some solutions for you. Great love to you, Still Earth Journey. I'm down to 5 minutes before lecture time here, and unfortunately, I've got something I need to do before heading out there. So I'm going to say goodbye. I apologize. I can see there's still quite a few comments here I didn't get a chance to get to. I'm going to share just a couple of brief things before I go. If you wanted to tune out now, this is the commercial part of the program, right? Hopefully you're here because you believe that what we're doing here at Tanglewood and what I do is beneficial to the people and the planet. Maybe you want to help support that. But a couple things. One, if you're interested in coming to fast with us, our rates are just about to go up. I know. I've been saying this. It's actually true. I'm so embarrassed. I have to get a letter out to our list, and I've been so busy, I haven't had time. I'm going to write that letter this weekend. I'm going to make sure it goes out first thing next week. And so there's probably a week or so before the rates go up. They're going up around 10%. We need to do this because our costs, taxes, insurance, salaries go up all the time. We need to do it. And so that's about to happen. There's an opportunity now to lock in our current prices by paying a deposit on your next fast or fasts. You can do multiple. We have people sometimes buy packages of fasts that they're going to use, and that gives them more time to use them. Normally it's 2 years, but if you buy more than one, you'll have more time. 3 years with two. We can even do longer with 3 or more. If you pay in full, you can deduct 10% from our current prices. Okay, even if you come in 3 years, you're paying the current prices minus 10%. Okay, so contact me. It could be on Messenger on Facebook, or on email, Loren@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. If you want the discount, you need to contact me. If you want to just pay the deposit, you can go right to the website, pay your deposit, lock in your price. You've got 2 years to come if you buy one fast. If you're interested in coming to the Fruit Festival, which is an amazing event, incredible, delicious organic fruits, high quality, just picked in the last week stuff. we have a beautiful place here. It's a fantastic event. There are lectures, there are yoga classes, there are discussions, there's live music. We have a couple bonfires. We spend a day at one of the most beautiful beaches in Costa Rica. We spend a day at the highest waterfall in Central America. It's a really amazing time, and our rates also go up next week. So this would be the time to book your fruit festival. Stay with us if you're planning on coming, and if you're not planning on coming, plan on coming. It's amazing. You should be there. And of course, the big project. We're working on the big project. We're moving forward. We're making progress. There's a lot of cool things happening. And there's an opportunity right now to get in. If you want to be a member of this community with a lot, there's an opportunity for you to save 20% if you can act right away, or to secure your lot with a down payment of 20%, which is $10,000. Or if you're interested in investing in the project at large, because this is a big project, it will eventually require millions of dollars of capital. And if you want to be an investor and you're in a position to help us with that, there's going to be some very interesting returns. And even sexier, it's something you can actually get behind, because we're talking about preserving land, and we're talking about regenerating land. We're taking pasture and creating forest, and then preserving existing forest, and creating a place where we can teach the public at large how to live on the planet in a way that's not harmful to the planet, and how to create an amazing level of health. So gotta go. It's been great being with you. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. By the way, feel free to share this on your wall, on Facebook, or wherever else, on YouTube. And if you've enjoyed this and you find this beneficial, please give it the thumbs up. I'll look forward to seeing you same time next week. Bye-bye.